So Void Stranger is probably one of the most complex and interesting games I've played recently over the last year. And what's interesting is there's a lot more to it than a lot of people know. And this is just to answer one of the most complex questions was why exactly was Lev, or Leviathan in this case, the Void Lord, why exactly was she the final boss, and what really was she after aside from just trying to change the whole history and erase it for her own being? And to answer this question, we really have to look at who Lev was as a character. Her sin was like all her other sisters, they all had like some kind of a sin. She was envious. Well, the story doesn't kind of make sense at first, but it's all there. You have to find it. So the way it works, you have to really think about who Lev was. We don't really see her until like near the end of the game, but she's there though. So she's just been hiding. Well, if we look at the realms that they're in, her realm is near the very end, but before Seep's. So you have hers is the seventh realm, and then I do believe Seif's is number 8. So we can definitely say that she might have, before Seif came into the picture, she was probably the one that Odd looked up to the most because of the order they were probably created in. However, though, it's very interesting to think though that if you really find the whole story logic, you'll find out that Seif then became Odd's favorite personal creature because no matter how hard she tried, she just couldn't seem to get it right. But there was something about her. She was her light bringer, as she called her, or Lucifer in this case. And what's interesting is this actually made Lev she drove herself mad over this. Aside from the Void Lord war that broke out, Lev took her own life because she couldn't stand what was going on anymore. Everybody couldn't gain trust from anybody, and nobody was really trying. Everybody just had like these delusions of conquering everything for their own greed or wrath and something like that. But what happened with Lev, though, that's really interesting was Seif actually mentions it herself too. If Lev really was the only one, Lev really only trusted Odd, their creator, and she didn't trust Seif, but Seif was willing to fight her. And I don't think it's canon, but Seif really wanted to protect the Dis realm from Lev and all the other people that were trying to get it if they did. But Lev was trying to prove to all the Void Lords as well as Odd herself that she could in fact be just as good as Seif, and she was special in her own way. She even hatched this plan to change the whole history of it, and it's interesting. But if you go to her realm and read all the single eggs that are in there that give off the lore, they mention how Odd really never, or Seif was special in her own way, but Lev was kind of special in her own way too. And she noticed that when she didn't trust anybody else, she didn't trust any of her other sisters, because all she trusted was Odd. No matter what happened in the war, Odd still was favored the most by Lev. And I don't know how Seif might have felt about this, because it's kind of ironic, because Seif's pride in competition with her sin is pride. And the pride that Seif has is she doesn't take lightly. She really does honor what Odd said, but she didn't believe that Odd was still alive. Well, little did they both know Odd was still, she was just watching over them somewhere. If you could argue that, her soul was sort of like intertwined in the staff, but at the same time though, she was Grey basically reincarnated, or something around there. She was there from the very beginning still. So if you also think about it, Lev was also probably more powerful than Sif was if they both were to fight because of the powers that they both possessed. I mean, besides the machine that she fuses discs with and the memory, what was it, the memory elements that they were mentioning? Every Void Lord had, it was like a key to unlocking the true potential of discs. And when they all disappeared, their memory lords would unlock. And once all the keys unlocked, they basically were able to say that they could unlock Disc's truest potential and the secret that it was sealed away in the lowest parts in that one room. So technically, Lev wanted to rewrite history because she wanted to prove to Odd that she was in fact still her favorite and special. She didn't believe that it was anything else. But I really do think, though, that at the same time, though, I think really the only reason why Lev did what she did was because she lost control of... It was because she was envious. She wasn't just a cold-hearted bitch for no reason. There was a reason why she became who she was. And if you get the special routes with near the end after you beat Lev, you get like different cutscenes of her reincarnated, like basically talking about how she realizes she was wrong and she wants to start over for her own kind. And it's actually just kind of something that you can really see how she's changed in that sense. Makes you wonder about the other Void Lords and what happened to them afterwards, because you could see how they went from being evil and insane, or in Lev's case, how depression and insanity drove her to do the things that she did, mainly due to her sisters and the situation that they were all in. You can see how that really changed and they wanted to start over in the afterlife.